Hey everyone, Bill Lethman here for MoneyEvolution.com, and welcome back to another Facebook Live. So if you've been following along all week, we've been talking about cash flow. So we started off by talking about understanding your cash flow and the impact that your cash flow could have on your balance sheet. We talked about some ways to help you potentially improve your cash flow situation. Then in yesterday's videos, we talked a little bit about kind of being more intentional with some of the decisions that you make financially and that impact that it has on your cash flow. So today we're going to kind of wrap things up and continuing the conversation one more day here about cash flow, but we're going to talk specifically about your cash flow in retirement, or what I like to refer to as designing your retirement. And this is something we've talked about, I know, in a lot of other videos, but I want to do it again here. This is something that, again, you can pull out some paper and a pen to write with and maybe take some notes and maybe start to think about some of the questions that I'm going to present here today and what you might be doing for your retirement. And again, this is part of our 7 core elements of retirement planning that we talk a lot about. It's actually number 1, and that's getting a clear vision of what your retirement is going to look like. So if we think about saving and investing for retirement, we're really balancing 2 things. One, we're balancing, if you think about it, spending money for today and doing fun things, you know, driving a fancy car maybe, or going on a vacation, or buying a bigger house. And we're balancing that versus saving money for your future. And for most people that are watching this, it's going to be your retirement future, you know. And so if you think about this, it's really kind of a balance. And of course, if we spend all of our money today and we don't save anything for the future, that retirement's going to look pretty bleak. On the other hand, if we save everything for today, we're going to have a great retirement, but that might mean we're making a lot of sacrifices today. So what I want to do here in this video is I want to maybe have you be a little bit more intentional with some of the things that you're doing regarding saving and spending money. Think ahead to what you might be doing in retirement, and I refer to this as begin with the end in mind. And there's really 4 categories of expenses that I want you to think about. You can put this down on your paper. Number 1 is going to be your housing expenses, and there's a specific reason that I like to break housing expenses out, because I think that's one of the variables that you could potentially change as we're starting to look at ways to prioritize these things. But when I'm talking about your housing expenses, if you have a mortgage payment still, what is that principal and interest mortgage payment? If you have, most people do property taxes on that house, you might have insurance, homeowners insurance. And the other thing that you need to think about too, that a lot of times people often overlook, are the maintenance issues that you might have with the house. And you may not have any maintenance issues today or this year, but you know, eventually you're going to need to do some paint, or you might need a new roof, or a furnace, or a hot water heater. You know, so you know, be thinking about how much that house is really costing you on an annual basis. You also want to look, of course, at your living expenses. What are the things that you need to spend money on day to day? That could be your automobile expenses. It could be the groceries that you spend to eat, or going out to dinner, or if you have hobbies like you like to play golf, or you like to scuba dive, whatever that might be, you know, kind of take an inventory of what some of those living expenses are. And then the other one that I like to throw in here too, because I think for myself, and I think for a lot of people probably watching this, you're envisioning your retirement as now you've got all this free time. You can go and travel, you can do things. Maybe your kids live in a different state, so you want to be able to afford some trips to go out and see your kids, and if you have grandkids, see them as well. Or you want to be able to go to Europe, or you take one of those riverboat cruises. I know those are really popular with a lot of our clients right now, or take your family to Disney World. That's one of our favorite places to go. So you want to start to put some numbers to this and think about, you know, how much is that retirement going to cost? So we'll call how much will retirement cost, and we'll just put that there. And then what you can do, and what one of the things we do is when we start doing our comprehensive financial plans, we run a complete cash flow analysis. And so we can project out how much some of those expenses are going to be in the future by going through this exercise with our client. But then we also want to do is we want to see how are the current activities that you're doing right now in terms of saving this money for that future. Is that going to get you to where you want to be at that retirement time? And then we can start to look. And so maybe there's a little bit of a gap, but that's one thing we talk about here on these videos quite extensively, is that you've got your retirement goals that are over here, and where you're actually at with what you're currently doing for retirement, you're over here. And whatever that gap is, we want to figure out some ways to bridge that gap. Now, traditionally, when we talk about retirement planning, there's three main ways to help you fill that gap. One is that you can retire later. You can work longer. So, retiring at age 65 instead of 60 is going to have an impact on maybe shrinking that gap down. Number two is that you can save more money for today. So we can increase this savings option right here, and that's going to give you more money for the future. Or you can spend less money in retirement. And those are really kind of the three main categories that things fall into. But what I want you to do here today is maybe start to rethink some of these things. And for example, let's say you have a house payment still. Let's say maybe you didn't have your mortgage paid off, or maybe you upgraded your house later in life and that you still have a mortgage. And so now you can start to think about, what is this trade-off between what I'm doing today and what that's going to be in the future. So let's say you have a $1,500 housing payment. That's your principal and interest. If you were to, for example, downsize your home, maybe move into a house that maybe you can pay cash for, because you could take the equity in your current home, use that to pay that off, that could free up $18,000 a year of potential additional monies that you can use to do all the stuff that you want to do in retirement. One of the other things we talked a lot about here on these videos is maybe some type of part-time work. Maybe it's some consulting, or it's doing something part-time, or I've got a client that she bakes cookies for a local bakery, and she actually makes really good money doing that. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do there. And even if you, say, made $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, that may not seem like a whole lot, but when you start factoring that in and looking at what potential impact that can have on your cash flow, sometimes that can be really, really big. And then you can start to look at this and say, here's my gap. Now we can start making some decisions. Okay, we can maybe look at a couple of those options, maybe downsizing your house, or going into somewhat of a semi-retirement phase could be something that could help to shrink that gap. But we could also start to look and say, well, what's more important to me? Is it more important for me to retire early, even though it may mean I have a little bit less money to spend in retirement, or is it going to be better for me to work a few more years and have more income for yourselves to spend in retirement? And those are some of the things that we can really dive into and really answer those when we start getting into some of these comprehensive cash flow decisions. We can look and see how maybe turning or tweaking a knob over here a little bit impacts something over here down the road, and it helps to make more well-informed financial decisions. So I hope this has given you some good insight here on planning for retirement. I hope this makes sense to you. Again, if you're watching this video and you like what we're doing, give us a like. Share the video if you think there's other people that are on your Facebook page that might benefit from this video, and make sure you subscribe to our Facebook page. We've got some great stuff coming up here in September. We're going to be doing some longer format presentations either here on Facebook or on our webpage at moneyevolution.com. So go ahead and subscribe to that, and I'll see everyone back here next week in our next live video. Thanks.